Aries, how are you? I did a reading for you yesterday, New Year's Eve, and the masculine side was very specific and direct. And then the feminine, once I got into the feminine side, it went from a 18-minute reading or 15 to 18-minute reading to an hour and 7 minutes, I think it was. It just was kind of draining. So there's something with the, there was something where the feminine could be guarded. And I could have been reading for a lower vibration, right? So the intention of this reading is for the divine counterparts, right? The divine union, the divine path, which means that both individuals are trusting in divine timing, right? So that could have been an earlier representation of what was going on in your twin flame journey. Someone could have been dealing with a karmic feminine, but we're not going to give energy to that. So if she pops out again, we're just going to smite her. If that's the case, if that's what you are dealing with, then just know that you can shift your energy, right? You can channel and transmute that energy in a different way and say, change your frequency. If that's what you're attracting, what is going on here? You can see where I need to paint. I'm painting the room. I'm gonna have to paint over my mural, but my house is officially listed, so that's exciting. So soon, hopefully, right? The readings may be all over the place in the in a van. Oh, I don't know what it is, but my allergies just went crazy. Excuse me. We have the Lovers here, King of Pentacles, and the Devil. You could be dealing with a Capricorn, or again, this is the Lovers. We've got a choice. Whenever the Lovers is here, whenever twos show up in the tarot, whenever you are coming into divine union, whenever you're on your divine path, there's always a choice, right? We always have free will, right? So in one way, there's the devil, and in the other way, there's something solid and stable. Oh, just a second. Okay, let's see. Yeah, do you find you might be, you might be struggling with asthma, allergies, right? What asthma and allergies, those are just things that affect our immune system. The devil affects our immune system, right? Our energy field, right? So it may represent itself in various physical ways. There it is. The Lovers again. Yeah, you have the Lovers and then you have the Tower. Could have been dealing with a Scorpio. That could be you, right? This devil could be part of your attachment. Maybe you were giving to a connection that was a lower frequency, and it was really testing your physical health. Maybe you were feeling drained, getting headaches, fatigue, mind fog, eyes twitching, sleepless nights, right? You could maybe eating poorly, just not taking care of yourself, right? I get like a 5 of Pentacles here, right? Because 5 is a blockage and the devil is a blockage. It's at least an attempt at a blockage. So when we have the Tower here, the Tower comes in to unblock things. Yeah, there may be something with your breath. It's in the air I breathe. Who sings that? That was totally not the right key or tone or whatever. The air I breathe. Is that the Carpenters? I don't know. Maybe something with your house. Maybe something with your house, your home. You're maybe doing carpentry. You're maybe, carpenters build. And we've got the Tower here. So, but that does make me think about like sanding. Because I've always had pretty bad allergies. And so like the sanding dust, right? So something with like the air that you breathe, there's something in your air that is like waiting for the dust to settle. right? And I was getting the Three of Wands and the Four of Cups in the shuffle, which is all about waiting, right? Like waiting for the dust to settle, waiting for the air to clear, right? Maybe you were dealing with somebody who polluted the very air that you breathed. And you could have felt short of breath, right? If you do have asthma can be triggered by stress, right? So if you're stressed, maybe you were just having a hard time breathing, and breath is all about accepting, receiving divine information and prana. And if you're around people, places or things, entities that are polluting your air, all the information that you take in tells you that you're in a toxic environment. So it will represent itself in physical ways, right? Oh my gosh. This just came out of nowhere. But yeah, it's also like when you start to clean your space, your physical, literal space, and when you start to curate your friends, family, circle, you start to change jobs, right? When you're on the divine path and you're figuring out what your passion is and what's your truth and aligning with that truth, right? Alignment is when your beliefs and your actions match up. So when you start to actually walk the talk, right? Walk the path, you have to kind of like stir a bunch of stuff up, right? So if you're doing shadow work, this tower, and which could be associated with Scorpio, it could be associated with you. Scorpio is the sacral chakra, which is sexual energy, reproductive energy. You could have a child with somebody, or they could have just acted like a child, but it could have opened some childhood wounds for you to be with that person because they were a karmic, right? That's what a karmic does. A karmic comes in and triggers our spirit. Like it makes our spirit so uncomfortable that we have no choice but to temper our ego and to walk the path and stay determined, stay in the faith. And that's often the confusion between the twin flame journey and a karmic, right? A karmic twin is that both will trigger us, right? But one triggers our spirit. The twin flames will trigger our ego, right? It will trigger those lower vibrations to come up. A karmic will trigger our frequency to come down, because a devil, a vampire, a taker, a parasite drains your energy, right? So you could have just been very lethargic. Your immune system could have been sort of something with the immune system, right? You were around pollutants, things were bothering you, right? And if you're stressed, or if you don't have asthma or whatever, if you're around somebody who makes you clench, right? It's like your solar plexus clench, you're in this fear-based place, right? And maybe the sexual energy was on point. Karmics often are good in the physical, right? That's how the devil tempts you. They're lustrous, right? They get you in. Maybe they had lustrous hair, right? But we have the lovers here with the Ace of Cups. So I feel like this was your devil, your shadows. Something was triggered with this person, and you were like, oh, this is, you realized, like, I got to get out of here. Because if I don't, I'm going to die. Like, I'm physically ill. This place makes me physically stressed, mentally unstable, emotionally reactive, very unhealthy, right? And when you trigger fire, and you're double fire, cardinal fire, like that's when you put too much fuel on that, and you put chemicals on that, right? There could have been chemical use, substance use, something like that. But the Ace of Cups, I don't want to give too much energy to that, but if based on your reading yesterday and how challenging and draining that was to do, I feel like that's what needs to be left in the past. So if you are dealing with that, this is your cue to move forward, your cue to get out of whatever that is. And if you're like, yep, that's the past, I'm done with that, I'm ready for my divine, divine counterpart, I'm maintaining a steady, stable frequency. So we have the Lovers here with the Ace of Cups. Now the Lovers is, again, a choice. And oftentimes it's not just a choice between one person and another. It's a choice between the past and yourself, right? Your frequency. And doing the work on that frequency, and doing the work on your energy and your space, and cleansing and curating and purging and doing all of those things to get your, now there could be celibacy here as well, because the Lovers, if you're giving that love to yourself with the Cup here, Ace of Cups is about filling your own cup. You may have just been, self-pleasuring, self-filling, right? All the self-love. Taking care, and if your physical appearance was affected by how physically drained, and if you weren't sleeping well, then you're gonna look tired. Your skin's you're gonna represent the illness and the toxicity of that situation. And so if you're in the Lovers for the Ace of Cups, which is it's self-love, it's choosing yourself and saying, I am more important. I would rather be alone than be in anything like that ever again. And once you choose yourself, your divine counterpart is yourself. They are linked to you. You are of the same star. You are created by each other, for each other, right? What is that? Morgan and Morgan. Maybe it's like, yeah, you might have the same name, or like similar. You might be the same sign or something like that. There may be something that's like, you might look very similar. When you're with somebody, you start to look like them, but you guys might actually look very similar. But it's like Morgan and Morgan for the people. You buy each other for each other. And I just got Morgan and Morgan. But we also have the Cup here, which is, there's a W there, but it's almost like could be a W in your name, W or M, right? And it could appear as an M, you or your person. It could appear because it's reflected, right? When you fill your own cup, you're actually reflecting that frequency out into the universe to say, this is what I want. I want something that is full and not full of shit. Something that is a cup that runneth over. All right. And see here in this Lovers, this person is tempted by secular things, right? They're still choosing this. But again, this might be the version of the Lovers. Like if you're dealing with a twin karmic twin, this person, they're very about the sex. It's very codependent. There's an attachment here. And we've got this serpent here. Again, this is the Native American zodiac for Scorpio. So could have been a Scorpio, could have been something that was just sexually based, right? But we see we've got the moon, like, is the moon, is it sucking up or is it blowing? Sucking or blowing? Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of sexual energy here. And see, like even like the lustrous hair, like her hair's not that lustrous, it's pretty stringy. So maybe this person was like very superficial. I mean, they may have worn a lot of makeup or like had their hair done in a way that was not authentically theirs. It wasn't natural. It wasn't, even though they're natural in the sense that they're naked, they were never transparent. They were never authentic. There was something very fake and false about this person. So it's like with the moon here, it's like the moon's telling you, like trying to give you, the moon's all about intuition and feelings, and it's almost like the moon is trying to tell this masculine, like, hey, pay attention. This person messed with your mind. They gaslit you. The devil's about fear and doubt. And so this person may have really tested that, right? They tested your spirit. They tested your intuition. They tested your truth. And so there was manipulation there. And see, he's like doing it. He's going through the act, but he's getting bit on the ankle. It's like his Achilles. This person's like your toxic kryptonite, right? This person, this feminine, this false. And you can flip this, but I was getting the trouble with the feminine. And that's where I'm getting here. Like the feminine just looks like a narcissist, right? Like it's working for this feminine. Look at her. She's like, I'm getting what I want. But he's struggling with his intuition. He's not looking into the moon. He's not, there's this like push-pull. This suck and this blow. There's this, and what's that game where people do that when they do this suck and blow with the cards or whatever. So maybe this person, they just played a lot of games, right? But they were, and so it seemed fun, it seemed light, and you're like, maybe this is my person, and I feel challenged, right? I feel tested, like I have this, but it was a temptation. It was testing your spirit. It was somebody trying to drain your spirit, right? And so the moon is also about lack of clarity. Like this person was very confusing, and that might have felt very passionate to your fire. That might have felt very, like I like this, but it was all lust-based. It wasn't real. It wasn't real. It was like a dream or a nightmare. But with the King of Pentacles here, you could be dealing with an earth sign, or this could be you if you're the masculine. Either way, you're finally mirroring what you want. You're representing what you want, right? You're not in your lower shadows. You're not being tempted. This is somebody who's done a lot of work. Like, look how buff they are. Like they've, as opposed to this noodly ass demon, you know, it's like this person, I mean, again, I feel like maybe you started taking care of yourself again with the Ace of Cups. And so I feel like if you weren't hydrating, you weren't sleeping very well, you were maybe eating poorly, not enough or too much, whichever it was, it's like, this is, the King of Pentacles is balance. You got your balance back, and it's showing. You are reflecting and refracting and representing. That's the word I was looking for. You're representing your inner balance, your inner health and wealth, which is what Pentacles represent, right? Their balance and stability and all the things that, so you could be dealing with a fixed sign, you could be dealing with an earth sign, you could just be dealing with somebody that's in this energy because you're finally in this energy, right? This is like more towards your emperor aspect versus being a fool in love, right? Now the fool is not necessarily a toxic thing, but I feel like because you were living in a burning building, you know, you were a fool. You know, the lovers' early depictions or title or nomenclature was the dancers. So the full dance is under the full moon, but I feel like, so maybe something around the full moon, a full moon, right? Maybe in the last one or maybe any one of them. Maybe that's the last time you slept with this person or saw this person or, you know, I feel like there was a lot of physical chemistry, but there was absolutely no compatibility. And you knew that, but it's like you kept jumping. And then you would just like climb back to the top and be like, it's hot up here. It's fucking on fire. Let me jump again. So you were the fool, but it was like the fool in a cycle, like a lunar cycle, like a lunatic. Maybe you were dealing with a Pisces or a Cancer, right? Someone, or again, a Scorpio, someone associated with the moon, water sign, somebody with that very... right, and water signs are deep when they are in their shadow aspect. That depth is like very confusing and illustrious. I'm getting lust a lot here. The word lust. I would be interested to know what the like root of or the origin of that word is. Excuse me. And yesterday when I did your reading, I was doing it on an empty stomach, and then I started to get really fatigued and like pissed off by this like confusing ass feminine, this indecisive feminine who was, you know, felt like they didn't know what they were doing or why they were doing it. And that's usually how a parasite works, right? It's just in their nature, right? And narcissists, if you try to figure out why they did it, that will get you nowhere. But all that is to say, I was like, I'm going to eat first because nobody's going to fuck with my meals, man. This bitch. I was really annoyed by this person. And then I thought about posting it because there was, there wasn't really advice in it. It was like I was just kind of stuck on this feminine. So you may have felt very stuck on this feminine. And if you were the feminine, right? Maybe you were the indecisive feminine. Then maybe you were, you were the devil. You were the one that was in your lower vibration. Like attracts like, right? And we've all been in our devil frequency. That's why we do the work. That's why we do the shadow work, to get out of that, because it's our ego. It's all our basic desires, and it doesn't really, and I just watched Basic Instinct, and I don't want to spoil anything, but that movie, I haven't seen that in many, many years. It was just like, it's still a good movie. Michael Douglas and Sharon Stone. But there's like a level of toxicity, and his partner asks him, what is this thing between you? And he's like, I don't know. And, when you're dealing with a narcissist, or when you're dealing with someone who's toxic, you should always be able to say why you love somebody, right? There's that street influencer on, I don't know if it's TikTok or Instagram. I don't have TikTok, but I see them on Instagram or YouTube Shorts or whatever, where they'll ask couples, are you a couple? How long have you known each other? How'd you meet? What's your favorite thing about each other? And they can answer those questions, right? These people have been together a long time. They can answer those questions or whatever. And when you're with a narcissist, if you've ever experienced that, that if somebody asks you, why do you love them? Why are you still with them? The answer is always something to the effect of, I don't know, I can't explain it. I just feel it, or I can't help it. It's an addiction. If you can't explain it, if you don't have a good enough reason to be with somebody or to do something, then why are you doing it, right? So this is somebody who is showing their worth. They know their worth, right? And you can see it. It's the King of Pentacles. It's the third 3D. Even though it's Earth, which is feminine, and it is your feminine counterpart, right? Because Aries is the most distinctly masculine of the zodiac signs, being cardinal fire. And then, this King of Pentacles is often associated with Taurus, which is your, direct feminine counterpart, because they are fixed Earth, double Earth, right? So it's feminine as an element, but Pentacles represent the 3D and the tangible. So it's the meeting, it's the perfect meeting place. And Taurus is the Hierophant, which it brings together the 5D and the 3D, right? They are the spiritual link between the 5D and the 3D. And they're supposed to be the high priest, right? The Hierophant, the high priest. So this is somebody who is very spiritual, and they're going to be deep. They're going to be deep just like the water. It's what is that? The High Note, the movie The High Note with Dakota Johnson. I think she's a Libra, and I looked it up, but I don't remember what he is, and I don't remember his name, and I don't think I've seen him in anything else. But the guy in there, he is a singer, and she works for a very famous singer, and he's kind of like, she wants to be a producer, and so she wants to sign this guy on like as her first person, but she's an assistant, so she's in between this like self-realization or whatever. And Anyway, there's a song in there, and the lyric is deep, deep like the ocean, deep. This person's deep like the ocean, so they may have like a water placement, but I feel like maybe their sun sign is not necessarily water, and maybe you were dealing with a water sign, and you kind of thought, oh, like they're so elusive, and they're like the big fish that you're always trying to chase or catch, right? It's like, could have been a Pisces, but something about their energy was very elusive. But this person is actually, but they were very superficial, right? So it's like they were in the shadow aspect of their water, right? It was, and I'm getting here, it's kind of like this placid water. There's like these little ripples, but see how it's mirroring that's what water does. It mirrors the sky, but when it's placid, it's like a direct reflection. And it's like this person, you were projecting all of your own potential onto this person. This person did not have that potential in their own power. They weren't realized, they weren't self-actualized. When we see and when we fall for the potential of others, we're actually falling for our own potential. If we were in their shoes, what we would do with their tools, right? What we would do if we were them, right? Like it's like you're just seeing a direct reflection of yourself. And this Lovers and this Ace of Cups is you falling for your own potential, right? It's like, oh, that wasn't even about them. That was about me. I needed that so that I knew that it was, about me. And this King of Pentacles is somebody who is very deep and earthy, right? But there's substance to them. They're balanced, and they represent all of that depth in the 3D. So you're going to be able to say, like, I know why I'm with this person. I know why I'm attracted to this person, because I know why I'm attracted to me. I know my own potential. I know my own worth and value, and I love myself. And yeah, you may have had a very competitive dynamic with this other person, which is very toxic and devil and narcissistic. It always ends up being tit for tat, and you have to, like, you're constantly in competition because they're in competition. So you start to kind of fall to the occasion, not rise to the occasion, because their frequency is so low. But you kind of like meet them where they are, and that's where it's like, this tower is like you both falling to just back down to square one. It's always like, ugh, climbing the staircase and discovering that it's just a burning building. So this King of Pentacles is with this Lovers. And the difference between this Lovers and this Lovers is this one feels more like the devil, right? The devil in the Rider-Waite Tarot has them chained around the neck. But it looks very similar. That's the thing with a karmic twin and a true twin, is they look very similar. The devil knows how to look like God to a certain extent, right? Because the devil was an angel first. So it's like this person knows how to, and this energy, we'll just call it energy, because I feel like it was in all things. You probably were giving your energy to friends, family, work. Everything was the same. It was all like you giving to the potential of others, but that would you realize, like, that was actually me falling for my own potential. And this is codependent. See how connected they are? They're not connected, like they're contractually connected. Contracted, right? Contraction, it's like a disease, like a virus, a little parasite. But this is like they're just hooked to each other. It's codependency. This is like, if you love it, let it go. And that's the twin flame journey, right? You don't force it. When it's supposed to happen, if it's supposed to happen, it will happen. And this is you getting on that frequency of self-care, self-love, self-fulfillment, self-worth, and then getting to a place where you're now on a frequency where, and see, these two are nude, but they don't have to, it's not about lust. right? It's like you can sit in a room completely vulnerable and silent with somebody and just know that you're in a safe space. In this, it's almost like you couldn't sit in the same room with this person without fucking. It was like that was all you had. You know, there was no conversations, and any communication or conversations that you had, it wasn't conversing, it wasn't communicative. It was like game playing. It was riddles. It was like you were with a riddler. And I said I wasn't gonna like give this too much energy, but I feel like this is very heavy in your energy, and I do feel like with these lovers twice, you're going to be presented with a choice, and I feel like this past person is the blockage or the attempt at blocking. Like the devil was saying, sometimes it's just an attempt at blockage. It's going to be someone who tries to come back in. So I'm gonna like not give it too much energy, but I'm talking about it, I feel, for a reason, because I think it will be very tempting. And if you have been single for a while, or if you've been maybe not sexually active, you've been purifying your sacral chakra, right? You've been doing a lot of shadow work on that area of yourself. You know, drugs, sex, alcohol, whatever it was, like all of that was linked to you. Also with the dancers, I feel like you couldn't sit in a room alone together without it being about sex. You had to like be out around people. Maybe you had to have distractions. You had to have something else going on. That was probably some sort of substance, right? It was maybe some sort of like you couldn't just sit with them, because if you sat with just them completely sober, you would realize like I'm sitting with the devil, running with the devil. Is that the lyrics? But this is like, I love you. Oh, I love that movie. Sleeping with other people, right? And there could be a third party, but I feel like you need this reminder. You need to be like, yes, I did go through this. Whether you're going through it now or you went through it a year ago, it doesn't matter. It's still, I think you need that reminder, because this person is going to try, and this energy, and it may come in through this direct person, it may come in through a completely new or different person, but it's the same energy. And so you need to recognize it. And so if you can't say why you want to be with this person, why you're drawn to this person, right? Your person's not going to draw you to them. They're not going to, like, you guys are just magnetic. It's effortless. When you maintain a frequency of truth, truth attracts truth. The lie has to lure you in. It has to deceive you. It has to give you things that are tempting. The divine does not tempt you. It's like, do what you want. You have free will. There is no temptation in that. So yeah, back here we've got the 7 of Cups. Oh, sleeping with other people. Yeah, so maybe it was an open relationship, or they tried to talk you into that, or there was infidelity or something, or you guys were just friends with benefits, but it's not really the benefits that you want from a friendship. This is sleeping with other people. There's a line where they say, I love you for free. I just love that. Like, I love you for free. There's no obligation here. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to be anything. We don't have to say anything. We just are love. When you're on the frequency of I am love, on that divine frequency, that's what God is. God is unconditional love. Whatever face nomenclature you want to give to that, that's the truth. That's the only collective, objective truth. Everything else is, how you go about doing that is subjective or relative to the individual. But the collective truth is unconditional love. It's what we all want. It's what we all need. And that's what we all are, without, until we get influenced and, manipulated and fucked up in our childhood by society, by lovers, right? This is just free love. It's very like, no pressure. You're friends first. And so that may be a friend, but I think that it's just, this is your best friend. This is your oldest friend, because you've discovered that you are your best friend. And so you're on that frequency of like, I have enough, I am enough, And I only want things that make me feel more than, like the same or more than I feel right now as being myself, being with myself and loving myself. Like I can do anything you can do, I can do better, right? It's like, I just feel like there was so much competition and it ended up just draining you, draining your self-worth, draining your self-value. And it was contractual and obligatory and just awful, right? So I want you guys to focus on this energy. How does it feel, smell, taste, touch? Get into your senses, get into your sixth sense, and just remember that this is your person. This is your person. This person loves you for free. They love you just as you are. You don't have to change. You don't have to be anything. This person wanted you to change. This person wanted you to be something different than you were, right? Like he's wearing a hat here. It's like maybe they just like wanted you to like dress a certain way, look a certain way. But these people are stripped. These people are natural and they're beautiful in their natural elements, right? And you could be very empathic and sensitive and you find yourself kind of like energetically parroting or matching people with that mirroring. But like underneath that seemingly placid surface, what was underneath it was terrifying, right? It was like terrifying. This person, like, I think that's the earth. I'm getting more earth because we got the mountain here, the trees and everything. And see, there is a snake here, but that snake is on the tree. Like it's coexisting in nature. And snakes get a bad rap, like spiders and stuff. But there's this sort of truth in the chaos. Like this person may have a checkered past, right? Whereas this person played a part of being like, I'm totally perfect. And they looked perfect. They, and that's, I just feel like you guys are dealing with a narcissist, right? Somebody who maybe was like, they could have been grandiose, they could have been covert, they could have been any variation, but narcissists are vacuous. They lack empathy, but they know how to pretend, especially for those around them, which makes the individual that's dealing with them behind closed doors feel like they're crazy, right? And so this person was probably very popular, had a lot of friends, had like connections everywhere. That's just like 7 of Cups, right? This person had a lot of, and we've got the fish and the moon here. So again, could be Pisces. But this person was like a shapeshifter. That's what narcissists are. It's what the devil is. Like they're just demons. They possess and mimic. But they have to like look perfect. But once you get underneath the surface, it's like, oh shit, there's like a gator waiting right there that's gonna drown me and spin me around and disorient me. And like gators are cool. I'm not going in the water with them, but I'm a Floridian, so I know better. I'm not the Floridian that's in there like wrestling gators or anything like that. But there's something about this person, like they may be kind of like a hot mess or whatever that means. Or they may not look perfect, act perfect, speak perfectly. There's something maybe like broken but it's genuine. Like they wear their heart on their sleeve and their heart might be like have a bunch of little gold lines where it's been glued back together. But this person was maybe very like formidable and icy and like a picture. There was something very, and on the outside, yeah, it's like a beautiful work of art that you look at. But once you get up close to it, it's like the lines are actually all fucked up. So it's an illusion. It's an optical illusion. It's like those wall pieces that are so incredible where it looks like a perfect like shaded portrait of an animal or something, but then when it turns to the side, it's like little army men and slinkies and all kinds of weird little toys and stuff like that. Again, with the toys and the games, like you were treated as like a toy, a boy toy, a trophy wife, like you were, because I do feel like I'm reading for the masculine dealing with a toxic feminine, but flip it, right? Because you could be the masculine, but a female, or you could be the feminine, but a male, right? So whichever one you associate with, because I'm reading for Aries, and so Aries is a masculine sign. So you could be a feminine or a female, but whomever you were dealing with had this, and they, again, if you were dealing with a water sign, if they were a male and a water sign, or a masculine with a water sign, they could be representing as a feminine, right? And there's also something in Lord of the Rings where he says with this tower here, where they, in the extended version, because it's not in the TV version, which is upsetting to me. But when the hobbits are following Aragorn, gonna be the Libra because he's a Libra, but but he's a good guy, so maybe not. But anyway, the hobbits are following him, and they're like, "Why are we following him? Can we trust him?" And he's like, Frodo's like, "We don't really have a choice." And he says, "I feel like if he were," now I'm gonna fuck up the quote here or whatever, so I'm paraphrasing. He said, I feel like if he were evil, he would feel fairer or smell fouler, right? He would feel like there's something about being fair and in like fair feminine, right? There's something that was very feminine about this person, whether they're the masculine, feminine, male, female, doesn't matter. There's something about them that was they were evil. There was an evil to them, right? And evil doesn't really have an intention. So it's not necessarily that they manipulate out of some sort of calculated methodology. Sometimes evil is the lack of empathy and truth and divinity, right? It's a deception. So they were deceiving themselves, and they were all fucked up. So they were all broken. They were all these like toys and games and everything like that. But on the outside, it looked like they were really perfect. This person, this King of Pentacles with this Lovers here, I feel like this person is the reverse of that, right? On the outside, you might be like, what? This is just like a pile of toys. They're just like, they look crazy. Maybe they're not like your type or something, which if this is your type, do what you do. Free will. But I feel like you've been doing this work and you've got away from that so that you could not be drawn to that. And so you may be tempted by it, and I feel like that's why I keep harping on it. You might be tempted by it, but hopefully you're just, you know what that is, and you've been there, done that, got the t-shirt, gave it to Goodwill kind of thing. Like you're just done. Because we have the Knight of Wands over here. Yeah, I feel like this person's the opposite. Like they might be like, wow, this person's wild, this person's a mess or whatever. But it's truth. They're revealing all their insides. Like they wear their heart on their sleeve. There's no, like they could just be like a hot mess. They're hot though. I don't think you're not going to be attracted to them. I think that you're just going to be maybe like, what's the deal here? This is different than anything I've ever felt, which is good. That's an indicator. You don't want to be with things that are familiar, because familiar means it's a cycle. If it's unfamiliar, if it's new, if it's different, then there's something in there it will challenge your ego. So it may be something that you're like, this is different. This is challenging, but you'll be able to say, but you know what? I love how all of these pieces, right? When I zoom in, they turn into this beautiful portrait of nature. I'm getting this like nature, very earthy, grounded, which water and earth are feminine. So again, I feel like you were dealing with a water sign, dealing with somebody who was in this toxic, indecisive, like, I have so many options, whatever. I don't know, like, this person doesn't know who they are. They're trying to like paint a picture from other people around them. They're like a shapeshifter, an amalgamation, and see how like their easel is actually a person holding it. It's almost like they're just like walking around like, here I am, I'm a beautiful creature. But I feel like, see, this snake here is, we can appreciate this snake. It's in the tree, it's not bothering anybody, it's just nature. It's very natural, and everything is like, this is like, why is this snake here? It looks like a rattlesnake. Like, why is a rattlesnake by the sea? Do they live by the sea? I know sea snakes do, but it has a little rattle on it, so. And either way, if it's a sea snake, like, get back in the sea, fool. Why are you on the earth? There's something like that their nature didn't make sense. And that's what a narcissist will leave you feeling like, why? I want to know why. You'll never know why. You'll never know why. There is no why. That's why. Lack of intention, lack of clarity, lack. You can't fill up something that's got holes all in it, right? So this person is, yeah, I like this person. And see, they're not even about the sex, right? They're not like, this masculine is exposing himself. They're completely exposed and naked, genitals, everything, right? But this feminine's not even looking. This feminine's looking to this angel. So this person feels very spiritually attuned and divine, and they're like, and maybe that will be the thing that challenges your ego, because if you've kind of like gotten to a place where with this Knight of Wands, you're like, yeah, I'm the one that brings that good. You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of what I don't want to say what you're known for, but maybe you are known for that. Well, Aries. But maybe that's like where you put your worth or your value, was the fact that you were really good at sex, that you were really good at all the physical pleasures and being very physically attractive or whatever. It's like, this masculine's almost like, you don't want me for that? And they're like, no, I love you for free. You can sit there with your genitals exposed, like, cool. And we'll get to that. I don't feel like you're going to be in a sexless connection, but it's the friendship. It's the fact that you can just share space, and that space is divinely guided, right? So like, when God is your mission, right? Not religiously speaking, but when the divine path is your primary focus, right? And you are your favorite person, and you give your own worth, you fill your own cup, right? When you live in your truth, the rest is, it's for that. Like, the divine union is for that path. It's for your divine purpose. It's for this, your calling. It's part of your calling. Two of Wands and Seven of Wands. Seven of Wands, Six of Wands. Six of Wands is self-worth and recognition, and the seventh one is fighting it. So I feel like your ego might be challenged in this area, because you've come from something that was so hypersexualized. We got the Two of Wands here. But what is sex? It's connection. It's intimacy. It's healing. It's the tantric weave, right? And it's not about the position that you're in. It's not about how endowed you are. It's not about how good you look naked. It's about the connection and the intimacy of bringing two people together for the divine creation, divine masculine, divine feminine, divine creation. Now, that is, biologically speaking, a child. Maybe you want children, maybe you don't. But whatever you create is that it's the angelic purpose. It's the divine purpose. It's that divine creation. And it takes both of you to create that together. But in order to do that, you have to be balanced in your masculine and feminine, your divine emperor and divine empress, your divine alchemists, right? To keep it pure, to keep it truthful. And so I think this is your challenge with this connection is going to be between wands. Like, what do wands represent? And they represent passion. They represent work, right? Like, we're using these two of wands. This choice is to get down deeper into the dirt. Maybe you guys are going to be doing something with land, you know, plants, trees. Maybe you're going to be like doing something with animals, like conservation or something like that's going to be helpful to the earth, the collective. And that is going to be the driving force. It's going to be so much more important. And all of the ego stuff, it's not even going to be sex. It's going to truly be making love. You're creating love in your purpose. So the physical stuff is going to, pun intended, come so naturally. And I feel like you guys are going to be so tuned into each other because you're on the same path. You're of the same light, the same star. I feel like you're going to be like fighting, like, wait a minute, my worth is my value. I always was in the six of wands, like, look at me, I'm so sexy. I'm sexy and I know it. The Sun and Judgment. Yeah, so something was going to come in to test your judgment. And you may be like, oh, I want to see vindication. I want this person to be called out. I want a spotlight on them. Just trust that they're going to undergo divine judgment. So however they wronged you, right? Know that it wasn't even personal. It's just in their nature. It's in a mosquito's nature to suck the blood for survival, to procreate, right? They use blood for their eggs to make more. It's just they need more because they're empty. Without someone else's blood, without somebody else's life force, they're nothing. And that is sad, and you can have empathy and send them love and light, and maybe hearing that helps you have a little bit of compassion for them, and the fact that that just means that you were somebody, right? Victims of narcissistic abuse and the narcissistic cycle are those who are actually in the Six of Wands, right? Maybe you have a Leo placement or you're dealing with a Leo, but the Sun is here. This is the divine creation. See that child on the white horse? It's like they don't pick people who are weak, right? Vectors and vampires and parasites, they need a healthy host. They'll drain the hell out of that healthy host, but they need a healthy host to get all their nutrients, to get what they need from it, and then they leave it, right? Then they leave it and discard it. So if you can find any sort of, like, you know what, they chose me, they selected me as a predator because I am actually strong. Like, remember who you are. With the Sun here, that Leo, remember who you are, Simba. Like, you're the fucking king. You're the King of Pentacles, right? And maybe you're going to be attracting an earth sign, but there's something, maybe you have an earth placement, but there's something in your chart, in your purpose, that is earthbound. There's something to you that you want to be natural, right? You want to be nurturing, but you want to see it, right? The earth reveals all of its madness. I mean, there's also the core and the molten core, which is like madness as well. But, and maybe Aries isn't your primary placement. Maybe it's not your sun sign, right? Because there's like the Aries, that molten core, and then on the outside, it's actually earthy. There's something very earthy about it. You could be a cusper too, right? You could be a Taurus Aries cusper. But there's something about like the topography of the earth, of the planet. 54 on the clock there. Maybe those numbers mean something to you. 9 is a number of self. It's two independent people coming together. I'm looking at the lovers here. Two people who have confidence and balance, and then they come into the 10 together, 10 of cups, 10 of pentacles. There's the star again with that Aquarius, and the 7 of cups again. So see, this one is like someone who doesn't know what they want. This is someone who has a lot of options, and not just a lot of options. It's like, because you filled your cup, you can give so much more, right? That's why it's like your divine union is a result of you giving that love to yourself and you doing the work on yourself, and then the work that you do together is for the collective, right? So you love yourself, you give to yourself, any acts of being selfish or self-love or whatever are actually for the collective when you're on the divine path, when you're speaking truth. But yeah, there's something about the madness or the beauty of nature is the fact that it's out in the open. It's the topography, right? Something with maps. Maybe you travel, or you're going to travel with this person. Ace of Wands. Yes, it's like you've realized there's some big realization, and that has been like your life's karmic cycle to break. Maybe you came from a very sexualized home, or one of your parents was like a player, or there's infidelity, or you were raised in a house with like open relationships. Even if you didn't understand that conceptually, there was something chaotic in your primary caregivers or your biological parents. Maybe one was absent, right? Ringing in the left ear here. So for somebody that's very specific. But it's like your purpose here has been to like realize that, because wands are wood, right? We get wood from the earth. So it's like, instead of this sort of like magical flame, and flame means passion, it means sex, it means superficiality, right? Because fire is masculine, it's the physical, and everybody looks at a fire and they're just like enamored. It's beautiful to watch a fire, but the best fires are the ones that have enough earth and kindling and support from things around them to be nurtured. There's kindling. It's a slow burn, right? It's a slow burn, and that keeps the family, that keeps the heart, the hearth, right? The sun is the heart, and the moon that you were dealing with, that lack of clarity, is also the heart chakra. So it's like keeping the heart, the hearth, the home warm, keeping the family warm, is having enough kindling, having enough wood, right? Which is of the earth, right? So it's like you're realizing that your power is not in superficial and like how fast you can burn or how bright you can burn, but how slowly and steadily you can burn, and having someone around you that helps feed that and helps keep you tempered, right? Because there's a tempering process to having just the right amount of wood, and not throwing fuel onto that fire and not throwing water onto that fire, right? Because what do? And that was like the dust. Somebody that puts a bunch of water, or if you're dealing with a water sign, or somebody who was like deceptive, and that moon energy is water, right? The lack of clarity. If you don't put something supportive on there, it'll snuff it out. It'll turn it into smoke, right? And if it's an electrical fire, then, definitely don't put water on it. But I feel like someone snuffed you out, and your purpose here has been to realize, like Ace of Wands, you have this new realization about what your element and your power actually means and what it was intended for. And all of the other stuff that you were giving energy to is just doesn't matter. So this is an hour anyway, but I like this reading better. It's more about you, and there are tools, and there's hope in there, and for the new year, that's you're tapping into this re-empowerment and self-realization, and this 6 of Wands of like what your power actually means and your magic actually means, for yourself, for your divine union, for the collective. It's a grand purpose coming together. So I feel like 2025 is going to be very big for you. And just know that it's slow and steady, and that will challenge your ego, because you guys can be fast and furious, right? So, and how many of those are there? How many Fast and Furious movies are there? Like 25? There are 25 of them. So yeah, hopefully there was something in here for you. If you're done dealing with that person, just know that somebody in the collective needed to be reminded of everything that they felt and went through with that past energy, so that when this past energy comes in, it's not even really a temptation, because they're like, nope, I know about that. I remember. And what I actually want is this way. I want free love, baby. So thank you for watching, and until next time, I wish you well.